Welcome, Natasha. I'm with Natasha, who has been meditating for how long?
Very long time.
How long is very long time?
I'm a TM baby.
What does that mean?
So that means that my mother was doing Transcendental Meditation while I was in her stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was meditating for you?
She was already meditating. But and yeah, my dad is a TM teacher. So I started learning TM.
Hold on a second. This is back in Australia?
This is
judging
back
by
in-
your accent?
Yes. Everyone, I am from Australia. Currently in London.
Yeah.
Or Brighton with Mark.
In Brighton.
Yeah. So back in Australia. Dad's a TM teacher. So I was kind of introduced to it very young. So when I was about 5, there's something known as Word of Wisdom, which I think you probably know about. It's like a walking meditation for children.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that when I was 5. And then I learnt the proper technique or the adult technique when I was 11 or 10, when I was 10.
Did you ask to learn when you were 11, or was this kind of just done for you?
No, Dad always gave us the option. He's like, do you want to learn? And I was like, yes. So he never kind of forced us into it. It was always just an option. So I came to it and I said, yes, I want to learn. So at 10, I distinctly remember getting my mantra, which was really like a core memory for me. I can see the room and Dad giving me my instruction, which was really beautiful. So in answer to your original question of how long have I been meditating?
A while.
29 years. 29 years, because I'm 39, guys, if you could do the maths.
Oh, so 29 with the adult technique?
With the adult technique.
Okay.
Oh, and then I suppose
add on 6?
Yeah.
6 years,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you, I'm curious, when you did the walking meditation, when you were between 5 years old and 10 years old,
Yes.
do you remember doing it, and what was it like?
I remember the day that I learnt the technique as well. I do. Because to get the technique, you had to give like a value exchange. And I remember I had to give up one of my toys in exchange.
Was that
Which
hard?
was okay. No, it was just... And then I remember getting the technique and practicing it in my room, because it's like you also get a mantra and you just have the mantra while you're playing, or you only did it like, I think, for like 5 minutes. But I distinctly remember that. I can't really remember much after that of when I used it in my everyday life, but I do remember Dad giving me that instruction.
And why, when it came to when you were 11, why did you want to learn the adult technique? Can you remember?
I can't. That's a very good question. I haven't really thought about it, but I think it was just something instinctual that I was like, this is a good thing that I need to do. Because my sister, she's 3 years older than me, had also learnt the technique. I think she had stopped meditating at that time, but when I started, she got back into it. So then we had like a whole family meditating, all 4 of us, Mum, Dad, myself and Ton. So she had a bit of FOMO, so she's re-engaged. She came back into the fold. But
Okay.
It was just something enjoyable. Like I remember coming home from school each day, being able to go do my meditation.
Your walking meditation?
No,
Oh, this is your grown-up.
Sorry, this is
Okay.
back when I was 10, 11. Because back at that time, we know it's 20 minutes twice a day, but when you're younger, it's however old you are, you do it for that long. So at 10, I did 10 minutes meditation.
Right.
And every year, it increases by a minute. So when you turn 11, you get to meditate for 11 minutes. I was always really excited on my birthday. I'm like, woohoo!
Oh, really?
I get to extend my meditation.
Did your dad sort of remind you? And he was like, you can do another minute if you want?
No, I knew.
Wow,
Because I look forward to it. I'm
Really?
like, woohoo! I get to do 11 minutes, and then 12 minutes, and then 13. And yeah.
And So in those early years, what you said you look forward to coming home from school to do it. What was the feeling when you meditated? What was it that felt? What was it? What was the qualities?
If I'm thinking back to that time, it was just, I guess it was something to kind of recharge or kind of bring back that calm each day, that it's just really enjoyable. Even now that I look forward to TM time, because that time for you to just kind of take your attention off all the external and just come back to yourself.
And even then, when you were like not even yet a teenager, that was still valuable.
Yeah.
And were you doing it in the morning as well, before school?
Yeah, before school.
So you were disciplined.
Yeah.
Or was it your parents were disciplined?
No, I think we're probably just a very lucky family in that we just did it. It was just part of the routine. It was
what everyone did. What we did.
What we did because we enjoyed it.
Nice. Because I teach, I don't teach many children. It's especially when they're a school age, sort of between 10 and 16. It always seems quite a challenge because in the morning they have to just get up and the house is very busy to get off to school. So having the discipline to do it before then seems unusual.
Now that you ask him, I'm like, I'll have to ask Mum and Dad. I remember doing it in the morning. We'll have to go back to the...
Oh, but did you?
Yeah.
Could have been
like, I remember, but maybe Mum and Dad might have a different perspective. But
have you meditated, not constantly, but have you had any gaps in the last 30 years?
On the whole, I have been pretty consistent in that sometimes I've meditated more than not. So, like, sometimes during a busy week, there may be that I might have missed, like, an afternoon meditation because you go from work straight into going out for dinner or something. So you kind of miss that. So, but there haven't been gaps where I've stopped completely. I will have always at least had one meditation each day. But on the whole, it's always been twice a day.
Okay. One of my questions is always like, how do you think your life would have been if you hadn't meditated? It's impossible for you to answer.
It probably is impossible to know because you don't know what that path would have been. But I think instinctually, I know that it has made a difference in that, because what TM does, it removes that additional stress. So I'm probably more of myself than what I would have been without it. Because of the additional stress, maybe I would have been a slightly different person or not able to handle certain situations as good as I can now because you have that calm or the tools to. So yeah, I'm not sure that I can, but I think it is better for me.
And okay. So if we go past school and college and education, then you do you think? So you admitted your age. I'm not going to remind, but in the last say 20 so years, has your so there's two things: the experience of meditating, and then the what you get from it. Let's talk one at a time. Has your experience of meditation, i.e., what it feels like whilst you're doing it, has that changed at all over the last 20 or so years?
That's a good question because it's not that I've ever contemplated how my meditation has changed. I think with each individual meditation, we've kind of been that you don't judge what you're doing in the meditation. Like each meditation can be different. Like some are more have more thoughts and others can feel deeper. So on balance, I think over the last 20 years, that maybe during when you have more stressful times, you may get more thoughts during my meditation. But I can't quite say that there's moments in that I'm like, oh, I remember it being this. It's just always been something that when you're doing your meditation, it's just you take it as it comes, and I just find it still really beneficial or good experience.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that in stressful periods, let's say you've got some project at work and it's all kicking off, your meditation is different? Because I experience that myself, and other people sometimes come and they say, oh, I've been going through a really tough time and my meditation has suffered. And what they're saying is that their meditation is not quite as deep because they have lots of thoughts. So I'm interested to hear, is that what you mean? That if you are going through a stressful time period, for example, the quality of meditation can be different?
Yes, the quality can be, there's different flavors to your meditations as whatever you're experiencing. So there are some days, like if you're really tired, that you find you may fall asleep a lot in your meditation. And when those things happen, like you just, well, I know it's just let it be or take it as it comes, and don't mind what happens during those meditations, because I know that it will get back to what it's supposed to when you're doing it consistently.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And do you find you have to be... Are there times when you don't feel like... Firstly, how regular are you in your practice in general? Let's say in the past few years. And do you find there are times where you don't feel like meditating?
So very regular. COVID actually helped quite a bit because there was nowhere to go, like out afterwards, after work or whatever. So like getting the twice a day was very easy to do. And now the same is that I'm not in the offices often, so I work from home a lot. So yes, very consistent. And it's not often that I don't feel like doing it. It's pretty I look forward to it. I really do. So.
Is that because it's an antidote to a busy life?
Yeah, I think it gives you, or at least I find it gives me the energy to the busy life. So I think Dad gave an analogy of like the busy man syndrome, where like TM gives you this extra energy to go out and do all these things, like you feel like you can conquer the world, but then like that busy person may just get busy and stop doing the TM, forgetting that that's what gave you the energy. And then when that suffers, then you're like, oh, I'm not feeling as enlivened, or I feel really drained, and it's because you stopped doing the thing that gave you the energy in the first place. The
metaphor I remember is the gardener.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the gardener waters the flower, the fruit tree. It's important.
Okay, it's a fruit tree.
And then the fruits come. So she's then really enjoying the fruits.
Yeah.
Forgets to water the tree. The fruits stop coming. So it's always about remembering to water the root to enjoy the fruit.
Exactly.
Ta-da.
Exactly. So if you want more fruit, do your TM.
Do your TM. Meditate regularly.
Yes.
Okay. what is? I didn't ask you what your work is. Can you just give us a little description of what you do and etc.?
Yes, what I do is by day I'm in property valuations, so doing consulting in that space, and by side hustle or night I'm an intuition coach or intuition expert, so helping people tap into their intuition to help them make better decisions, align their lives with their soul blueprint, and yeah, so I really enjoy that side of it.
That sounds like you've got two activities that are the polar opposite.
Yes. So this is why I need TM, because they're very, very busy.
And on the side of the intuitive coaching, if that's the right word.
Yes.
Do you find that your transcendental meditation contributes to that, or has contributed to that in some way?
I was thinking about this the other day, actually, in that it's very difficult to hear your intuition when you're in stress, when you're in that fight or flight mode. So what TM does, it helps you to get out of that mode into just that calmness, as we have that ocean analogy, all the activities happen on the top, but when you dive deep, you've got that nice calm. So that kind of helps with that, but of tapping into my own intuition to help me realize that that's something that I was passionate about, that wanted to pivot into. So I think TM, I call it my foundation, as in it keeps me a very grounded person in myself to be able to go out into the world and work out what it is you want to do and maintain that calm throughout the days.
You said when we were talking beforehand that the stress kind of covers up your not true nature, sounds a bit corny, but stops you being yourself.
Yeah.
So is that what you mean, that if you're able to do the practice regularly, it makes you more yourself? Is that what you said?
I said it makes you more yourself. Yes.
Can you just go explain that a bit more?
Yeah, because you know what, I think when you're in high stress mode, you may have reactions that are not in alignment with who you are at your core. So when you are in that fight or flight or that stress level, maybe you lash out at someone, or you're not able to handle problem solving because you just can't, your brain's too active for you to ground yourself and be like, if I was not in stress, how would I handle this? Like maybe you wouldn't snap at the person or get angry at the person that cuts you off on the road, that sort of thing. So if you get rid of that stress, then you're operating who you truly are underneath all that stress, if that makes sense.
More functional.
Yeah. More functional, able to problem solve and think clearly, and tap into, I want to say it makes you more yourself.
More yourself. This is called Transcendental Meditation. What do you, in what way what do you understand transcending to be, and have you transcended?
Oh, great question.
What do you think?
So transcending, I liken it to that we're all energy, and if that we have this unified field where everything is created from.
What's the unified field?
Oh, okay. Come on. All right,
For
guys, we got okay, let me see if I can try and explain it. So everything is energy. So from you...
Is this physics?
We're going with physics, guys.
Okay.
We're on a physics lesson. So you may have to chime in here as well.
No, I'm not a physicist.
Neither am I.
Okay.
But this is how I understand that what physics is. We're all energy, from like the table to you to me. We're all vibrating particles of energy. And if you put everyone under a microscope of atoms and particles, we're just all vibrating pieces of energy, really. And we all come from source, or this unified field in physics. So when we transcend, or what I think happens when we transcend, is we tap into that source energy, the universal intelligence that runs through everything.
Okay.
So when you're meditating, when your mantra, you transcend and access that universal intelligence.
And what does that feel like?
That feels, so when you transcend, that is when there's no thoughts, no mantra, just bliss.
And what do you
I don't know
bliss?
how. I'm like,
Bliss
I'm
as?
not sure. This is one of those things where, for those that are watching that don't do TM, you need to do it in order to feel it. So if you want to access and tap into the universal intelligence that runs through everything, learn TM. There
Okay.
you go.
And what day to day, and it's not a trick question.
Okay.
What day to day?
It feels like a trick question
I'm
now that
just
you've
curious.
asked that.
No, define. I know. It's kind of. I dug
It's not a
myself
trick question,
an
but
immediate
it's going to
hole.
be. It feels like this is going to be a trick question.
No.
mark. Okay.
No.
All right.
No. So you've described something fairly abstract.
Yeah. What, unified field?
Yeah,
And
fairly
universe
abstract. So if we were to bring it, how does transcending affect your day-to-day practical life? Living in London, having a job, having a life, having a second business. Does transcending, what does the transcending experience, does it contribute to your day-to-day life in any way?
I feel that is a trick question because your transcending happens as part of your transcendental meditation practice. So what you're really asking is, how does TM affect my everyday life, or specifically transcending? Because,
Specifically transcending, because you could say that TM is relaxing, and therefore it kind of gets rid of accumulated tiredness, etc. But transcending sounds like something extra. So I'm just curious.
It's an extra quality.
Yes.
And I think that, because I've been practicing for quite a while now, that sounded almost very British the way I said that. I'm still Australian, guys. In that, when you transcend, you bring that quality out in waking hours outside of meditation. So you get glimpses of feeling that transcendence in everyday activity. Like sometimes when I'm washing the dishes, I'll just feel really connected to everything. And you just have these moments of glimmers of being still tapped into that source, which you are every day, all day. But I think, well, for me, I assume, doing a regular practice, you get more of that throughout the day.
Gotcha.
And for people who don't do TM, you might liken this to when you get in that flow state of you feel like you just lose track of time, or you're doing something that you absolutely love. Like people in sports, they say they get in the zone, and that's them tapping into that source, universal intelligence that you experience. But with TM, I feel it amplifies that for you to have more of those moments.
Brilliant. I'm glad I asked you the trick question.
Yeah, the trick question. Yeah, there you go.
Because it led to a great answer.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah.
If you have friends, I mean, you probably have this already.
A lot of people that know me have learnt TM.
They have learnt.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you ever have any friends who were on the fence? And because I like the hypothetical situation. You've got a friend. They know you meditate. they're like, is it worth it? Is it weird? Is it religious? Is it hypnotism? Blah, blah, blah. What would you say to them?
Is it hypnotism?
Yeah. Is it hypnotism? Is it religious? Is it weird? Is it worth the money? What would you say?
I was going to say all of the above, but no, it's not religious and it's not weird, but it is worth the investment. So I have had people that know me, common things I hear is like, oh, you're such a calm person, you seem really grounded. Or when I tell them I do a meditation practice, I feel it's when people are kind of looking for TM, it kind of finds them. And a number of people have asked me about it. I give them the information. I recommend the book by Bob Roth. What's the book?
Strength in Stillness.
That's the one. Strength in Stillness. I've had a couple of friends that have read that, and then the next weekend went and learnt TM. I'm like, great.
Job done.
Yeah, brilliant. But in terms of the investment, the experience of it is, I feel, just priceless. That sometimes it's difficult to articulate it to people, but hands down it is worth the investment, because this is for you. This is it's for your, with all the health benefits, but even like being more grounded and calm in yourself. How could you not want to invest in yourself? And then once you learn it once, you have it for the rest of your life. And it makes life easier, guys. It just really does. Because you are less stressed. Like I said, you're more yourself, calm, cool, collected. Yeah.
Have you... The reason for asking this question is there's a lot of meditation around.
Yes.
And there's a lot of mindfulness.
Yeah.
And have you, in some way, been able to compare different types of meditation, either through friends doing other types or through you just trying other things out?
Yes.
And could you talk on that a bit?
I have done other forms of meditation. So things like guided meditations or guided visualizations. I've done not sure if you've heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
You are the placebo.
Yes. Done a lot of his meditation retreats. But TM is still the foundation for myself, and then I will layer on the other things that I might need for a particular thing. I find it so TM helps the brain to get to that unified field. So it's a practice, but once your brain knows how to get there, I find it's a lot easier to do other forms of meditation, because my brain kind of already knows the pathway there. Because a lot of people find meditation difficult, particularly sometimes with the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation. Some people are like, I find it very difficult to sit still and do the guided meditations, because their body is not used to it, if that makes sense. But with TM, it's easy, it's effortless, and it's just this technique that helps your brain get there quickly to that unified field. So when I have done other forms of meditation, I find my brain, it's just very easy for me, because it's easy and effortless, because it's used to it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm trying to think of a metaphor, but I can't.
No, but you need TM in order to
get the
create a tunnel.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking
once you've created the tunnel, it's very easy for the cars to get through under the bridge. But until you've created that tunnel, all other forms of meditation are going to be difficult, because it will take practice and concentrated effort and practice to do those. Whereas transcending or automatic transcending, is what we do, it's easier and more effortless, because there's no concentrated effort to get there. So I reckon we should do a study on this and find out if people who are transcendental meditation people if it's easier for them to do like a mindfulness practice. Because that's another thing, guys, is TM helps you to be more present.
So you get the outcome of mindfulness, but by practicing TM.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, there you go. Yeah. But
there you go.
ta-da!
Ta-da! Tagline. All right. Anything else you feel like that could be of interest or relevance to share with the wider population?
Oh, wow. That's a very open-ended question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. It's purposefully open-ended.
Purposely open-ended about anything TM related.
Well, I'm relying on your intuition to say the right thing.
My intuition to say the right thing. Okay. No, I'm just if you're... Who are mostly your audience? Who am I talking to right now?
Don't know who we're talking to.
Who are we talking to right now? If you're sitting on the fence, I just say, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Most people are... most people, at least the ones that come to learn, they've heard of TM. Everyone's heard of it. But a lot of people think, it was something from the 60s or the 70s, so it's sort of from the past. And most people are doing things on the apps these days. So it's a question of explaining what TM is and how it's different from everything else. That's really the job of it. And then they can decide whether they feel like it's what they want. So they're the kind of people. It's like someone who is looking, but they don't really know how this is different and why they need to do a course and da-da-da-da. Because it's, you go on Headspace or Calm, it's like a click. It's free or cheap. So there's no commitment. So when we talk about TM, it's like, well, why is this different? That's really...
And why is it different, Mark?
Why is it different? I think really these days the main difference worth noting is that you get your own personal instruction by a real live in-person teacher. Because a lot of people come, at least to me, and they say, yeah, I've tried meditating. Because everyone's tried it, because you can do so much. But I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Or they've tried it and they think, I can't meditate. Because they have too many thoughts.
Yeah.
Or, they have a doubt. They doubt the practice or they doubt themselves. And either way, it's a pity because they then write off meditation as a whole thing. And that's only because they've tried something that wasn't suitable for them. Or they just need a bit of hand-holding. And to me, that's the main benefit of doing a TM course, is you get someone who leads you along the way. And it's like having a driving instructor. To be taught to drive without being in person would be quite hard, I should think.
Yes, it would
I mean, you
be.
could do your theory and you could read about it, but you do need to get in the car and have someone next to you who's kind of taking care of you at the beginning. And that's how I see the main value of TM.
But it's also the actual technique as well. A lot of people struggle with meditating or just any meditating because they're like, I can't sit still or I can't control my thoughts.
Exactly.
Whereas TM is the opposite of that.
Tell me, in your view, how specifically transcendental meditation... well, firstly, actually, could you define what self-limiting beliefs are and why they're a problem? And if TM... I'm presuming you think that TM can help get rid of them or shift them, or what's your story on that? What's your view on that?
Yeah, no, now that you're asking this question, I'm not entirely sure where this is going to go.
It's not going anywhere.
Where this is going to go, because I think the two are linked, but you have to be willing to want to.
Can you give me an example?
Maybe. So, well, a limiting belief or subconscious programming, like every day we're all operating from these auto programs that are in our minds. And a lot of these are programmed from when you're very young. Like, if we take the example of money or abundance, like maybe growing up you heard, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work really hard to make money. And so you form these beliefs around that. And then as you grow older, you don't realize that these beliefs are there. So when you're out in the world trying to make money or this or that, it may stop you from being able to tap into that abundance.
Because you might feel guilty.
You might feel guilty, or if you get, maybe you had a belief that people who are rich or wealthy are bad people. So subconsciously, you will, this is where that self-limiting, you will self-sabotage.
Oh, because you're kind of judging yourself as well.
But you don't realize it because it's so deeply in the subconscious. So even if you made more money, because your underlying belief is people are bad who have wealth.
Yes.
So then you will self-sabotage.
Okay.
Unconsciously sabotage that wealth, and maybe it comes in, it goes out, and so then this goes into a whole personal development thing, or coaching thing, but then you need to work out what are those underlying beliefs, bring them to the conscious, and then you can start unpacking them.
How would you know that you have a limiting belief by the fact that you want something but it doesn't seem to happen, or it gets halfway but then you keeps
I think you have to have
the
awareness, or because if you keep coming up against resistance in your life, in whatever area it is, whether it's love, wealth, career, you need to be able to be aware that pattern is happening.
Okay. So
for anyone who's listening, if you're like, oh, do I have these subconscious programs, pick an area that you feel, if you feel there's a lot of resistance, or you keep trying at something, or the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Or you procrastinate a lot.
Or you procrastinate a lot. Kind of have you need to be willing to look into what's going on underneath. And when you recognize it, then you can be like, oh, something's happening here. What are my beliefs around this? And then you can start to unpack it. And when you realize the underlying belief, then you can bring it up to the conscious and work out, oh, does this still serve me or not? And if it's a program that's no longer serving you, then you can install a new belief and a new powerful thing.
Okay, and that sounds like that's a process of sorts?
That's a process
that
of
requires...
sorts. But the biggest step up is bringing it to your conscious.
And is this where we're coming to the punchline, which is the position or the TM part?
I'm like, yes. How does TM help in this process?
Ta-da!
Ta-da! TM helps you to... Okay, this is how TM helps you. It brings you, because you are tapping into that source energy and your grounded self, it will help you become more present and become more aware of those programs.
Okay, so it's almost like it pulls the curtain away.
It helps to pull the curtain away. Do you find that's the case, do you think? Because how long have you been doing TM now, Mark?
Yeah, I did a lot of meditation. I've been doing TM for, I'm trying to think if I've been doing it longer than you. I don't think I have.
Oh, so have I been doing it longer than you?
I think you may have done.
Yes.
I learnt in 1986.
That was... I wasn't born then.
Oh, really?
No, I was. Sorry, I was 2 years old.
Okay, so you've been meditating longer than me.
Well, maybe.
Or you've been having it done for you.
Yes, I was exposed to it before you.
Courtesy of Mrs. Natasha, Mother Natasha.
Mother, yes.
What were we talking about?
So how has TM helped you delve into your subconscious or limiting programs, do you think? I think before and after TM.
Well, before I was like a teenager, so I didn't really count myself as knowing anything at all. So when I learned, I was just coming into my 20s. No, and I was a teenager, but anyway, I think what TM gave for me in this respect was an interest in the functioning of the mind. Maybe not initially revealing anything, but definitely, oh gosh, there's this other part of me that I wasn't really even interested in. And that's probably helpful, because then if you have an interest in something, you start looking, and you start almost like being a detective. Sort of, why am I reacting like this, or why am I thinking like that, and why am I responding like that? And especially if it's repetitive, exactly like you say, because it's a lot easier if things repeat, and then you kind of like, why do I keep having this result? Why do I keep postponing that, or things like that? And it's annoying because you want something, but then there's this sort of unseen fog in the middle, and you're like, why? Can I get rid of that? So I think, is that what you're saying, that it helps you see what's covered up by that fog, and then you can just becoming aware of it probably gets rid of it to a great extent.
It loses a lot of its power once you bring it from subconscious to conscious. But I think with TM, it helps you get to know self, or self with a capital S.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
That we're going down a very spiritual path right now, guys, because I'm talking to our audience.
Yeah,
we're going
fine.
down a very
Go for it.
Spiritual path. So self with a capital S is that, I'm going to call it soul, that essence that makes you you, and TM helps you to become more aware of that self, like going within. And part of that self is working out those limiting beliefs and removing what's not you. Because those limiting beliefs and those limiting programs it's just a function of this mechanics, like the brain, the programming that we have. And so you're revealing more of your true self. So TM helps in that respect, because you start to get to know yourself more, and then you're able to look at those programs that are stopping you from, tapping into that potential that you were put on this earth for, which takes it in a whole nother tangent.
It's almost like it gives you more of a bird's eye view on yourself, or a perspective, rather than being embroiled in your
rather than being trapped in the program.
It's like being in the thick of it. It gives you a sort of a distance, so that you can see it more.
Yeah.
So
this is kind of like what we were talking about, being tapped into the Matrix. If you think of the Matrix, you are now Neo. I think it was Neo.
Oh, wait! You're kind of waking up.
You're waking up
to a different
perspective, and working out that you're not plugged into that subconscious program.
Right. Natasha, thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome. We went in some very interesting directions with this conversation, but I hope everyone enjoys it.
Good. Good. Bon voyage back to London.
Thank you. I know it's a long way from Brighton, but yes, thank you very much for having me on the podcast.
You're welcome.